Now there isn't, or there doesn't seem to be, if you come from outside of Ireland, a classical music tradition in this country. It's entirely a folk music tradition that you find here.
Well, no, I would differentiate between a folk and classical. When you say classical, you mean European classical. There is not a European classical music tradition in this country. There is, on the other hand, a highly developed traditional music, which, because it's orally transmitted, must not be considered essentially as folk music. For example, in the Orient, you have music which is orally transmitted, but is still highly developed. Yeah. You have the court music of Japan, for example, and the Korean novices music, that kind of thing. Here we also have highly developed traditional music, very complex, very sophisticated, but it's more Oriental than Western.
And it's still alive?
Oh, it's very much so.
In a very transmitted as an oral,
yes.
In an oral tradition?
Yes, absolutely. The main part of it is vocal, the songs in Irish, the big songs, many of which can be traced back, 4 centuries, 5 centuries in their origins. It involves a very highly complex linear ornamentation, so that people hearing it for the first time think that it sounds, like Arabic music or yes. Persian music.
Now, this music that has been orally transmitted, it hasn't been written down somehow.
It has been collected, but you need a very different method of notation to write it down correctly from the ordinary European notation. And so far, this kind of notation has not been used by collectors. It's just beginning to be used. And
now, if when you write your music, your own music, that would be in the Irish tradition also?
Well, no, I wear 2 hats, so to speak, as a composer. I wear a hat as a traditional musician in the Irish tradition, but also because I've been trained in a European background. I compose European music, 12-note music, serial music.
Oh, yes.
And naturally enough, that's written as you would write serial music.
Yes.
The Irish music, well, you don't write it as such. This has to be, it's spontaneous. It's
very much improvised.
Improvised, yes. Just the same as Indian rags.